Here we are with the chapter 3 of the article, A New Definition of Flamenco Guitar as an Instrument. And the title of this chapter is A Colorful Enhancement in the Heart of the Guitar, the bridge. The bridge is the heart of the guitar. It commands over the sound, volume, tone, and sustain. The bridge is by far the most important part of a guitar, in and out, and it has an essential role when we talk of playability, and hence sound comes only from playability. A fitting and enhanced bridge will make it happen. So here again can also be considered as a fan strut or abanico, but first I want to point out that luthiers cannot tell us what playability is. And for that, because the sound actually, when people think that the guitar sounds good, it's actually that it is easy to play. And that's why, as it's easy to play, you are playing it with ease, and that is the good sound coming from, and from no other place. So therefore this very few luthiers in the world can understand this principle. And therefore here we have this link to explain that. That sound actually comes from playability, not from the guitars, or not from the guitar itself, but from how you will be able to bring that sound out of the instrument. And therefore, playability, which is the key factor here, that's where luthiers have zero to say about, because they don't play. Right, so a luthier cannot say what is good sound or playability because they don't play like us, or at least in my personal case, they don't play like me. So luthier cannot tell me what is playable because they don't play like me. How they will say? You see, this is the main point. If you be able to analyze that carefully, objectively, you will find out that luthiers have no stand at all. So this point here is very important because we are the players, so they should be adapting to what we need, not we adapting to what they think is playable or good sound. And yeah, it's a bit hard, but sounds good. No, that is not the thing. I learned this from Paco. Playability is the aspect. Unless you play with easy, which sound you will get? How you will get a great tone, a great sound, if the guitar is not easy to play? And what does make a guitar easy to play? Because this playability thing seems to be a mystery of the seventh mystery of the world. It is, because it implies many things, like measurements, the raw materials, of course. That's why maybe there were so many modifications of raw materials, things unique, never done. Then this Barcelona school of guitar making, the Simplicio thing against the Madrid school, I will post the description of that video. Many aspects are there, and also, of course, depends on you as a player, which is your pulsación, or which is your touch, if you have a lot of strength, or you play very softly, which style you play, the kind of hand you have, nails, etc. Everything matters. Strings, also, everything. But everything should be pointed to get you playing easy. Because if you have easy at playing, then chances are your sound will be good. Right? So it's not the instrument, it's playability that is a factor. And that's why luthiers cannot argue on this point or say anything. They talk too much. Every one of them have so much ego that I think this and this sounds like this. No, you don't know what this sounds because you don't play. You don't play with me, and still, I challenge them 20 million times, and still in this video again we challenge that if anyone is a luthier and thinks he plays, please play just what I played at the beginning of this video.
Which is this, in case some luthier is there watching. So, let's continue.
If anyone is a luthier and thinks he plays, please play just what I played at the beginning of this video. And if you can do that, post that along with the answer to the comment or whatever, and I will admit defeat. But until now, after 35 years of experience in this field, I never seen one luthier that goes beyond kindergarten level playing. And then therefore with that thing, that's why there is this hate-love with them. Because we need them and they need us also. But the last word should be the player.
Okay, then we continue. So the bridge can also be considered as an internal fan strut or abanico. And then we have a link to explain that.
Si mostras un puente de una guitarra española, lo puedes pensar como una barra externa en vez de una barra interna y formaría parte del concepto del abanico interno.
This is a very smart remark that Losao made now. It's true that the bridge is actually a fan also. It's an external fan because it's all part of the whole structure of the guitar. Now here we have one problem, Houston, which is the problem that if you go to type in Google or in Bing or in any search, if you search what it is, a classic guitar bridge, then we will see wait a second, something like this. Right? This is the classical guitar bridge. If you just Google there, classical guitar bridge, and go to images, and then this will come, right? Which is the traditional bridge with 6 walls, which has both wings same, very thick ones, most of the time varnished, and a dull, obsolete bone, this white bone, which is one of the really obsolete things which I will never use in my life, thanks to AG that created the marvelous thing with this carbon fiber, the saddle, right-hand saddle, carbon fiber saddle. It's the only guitar in the world which has this, the only guitar of nylon strings, I mean. And therefore what the classical guitars have only bone, this bone, which is, this is also part of the bridge, but I will discuss later. This is ultra important as well. But let's talk about the structure of the bridge itself. So the structure of the bridge itself is that this is a classical guitar bridge. You can Google the classical guitar bridge, go to the image, and then you see this thing. So this is, what is characteristic is that it's a rosewood, or sometimes even ebony, but let's say rosewood material, which is very dark sound,
weighty,
and very weighty, and very stiff. So they don't consider, they never thought why it has to be in the world with the both wings same. If this part, this wing belongs to the treble side, and this wing belongs to the bass side, why it has to be of the same thickness? This both, this and this. This, hello, doesn't make sense. So then therefore this is an obsolete concept. But well, wait a moment. Some people who actually have brain in the classical guitar world have also
and out of the
tried to experiment with different other than these things. They created bridges like, well, for example, here we have to mention the attempt to not notice that the problem is the bone and then try to put it inside the bridge instead of going this external. Like here you can see that the bridge is a piece that you can move out, in and out like this, through this channel here. But in this case, it is inside the wood. That also does not work. But well, then we will talk about the fact of the 12 walls, or even some people to put 9, 18, or 6 walls only. But this is another thing. Now,
have in mind that although the classical guitars, and now in Spain also some flamenco guitar builders make 12 walls, just like the bridge of AG. The traditional flamenco guitars does not have 12 walls, have 6 only. So that's why we are talking in this context here.
People who have brain, as I was saying before, and here I want you to see this picture because, of course, here we have 2 factors. One, this is
move the tuning.
This is a string which comes directly from the problems of this bridge are as follows. It is very hard. It has no distinction between bass and treble because hence both wings are same, as opposed to the bridge in AG, which has different, both wings are different. Like if you see here, you can appreciate that the bass wing is shorter and thicker, and this is beautiful Pau Amarelo bridge, and the treble side is thinner and larger. So both wings are different. You see? And this is an extra flat thing, designed especially for modern flamenco guitars with the carbon fiber thing. So
it has also 62 millimeters of length from the 1st to the 6th, and this offers so much control on target zone for the target zone attack for not only picado but rasgueos, the strummings, el sapue, anything you do, and observe the exact calculation, how it is all even, exact even the distance from each wall.
Also, it's worth to notice that the problem of the raw material, and never tried anyone to do a different one, except for AG in Spain. Nobody tried it. This is Brazilian mahogany, right? This other one, this is a cocobolo rosewood thing. This is cocos wood. This is a weightier material. It has some weight. This is similar to rosewood. And also, of course, those carbon fiber saddles, which many people try to just put that in the guitar. It doesn't work because this should be, actually, after all these tests, it was, well, at least my opinion, that except for some very special cases or specific guitars with some specific characteristics, the carbon fiber saddle works much better in softer material, raw material for the bridge, and this is not the case with this one. Well, but this is an excellent guitar. That's actually the centennial, the 80 years anniversary guitar of Barbero, owned by Mr. Walter Stella, my friend also. And then, well, here we have the Pau Amarelo. So look at all these different woods used, which this is the best. Now became standard. in AG, and in fact, in my opinion, this is the very best. There is a reason why Stradivarius use maple. This is Cremona maple saddle, which is very soft and very light and transmits great. And this, and here, the carbon fiber saddle really works amazingly. You see, this is another maple, also maple bridge.
Because the thing is that also the longitudinal strength of the top matters. If it is a red cedar one or if it is a European spruce top, has different strength there, and this has to have to be matched with the own strength of the flexibility of the wood of the bridge, and with the size, of course, and with the design of the bridge. So therefore, sometimes it works very well. Harder material on the bridge on softer tops, and the opposite, and then many combinations of those have been performed. So this is a very, it seems easy, but it's a really deep science.
This here,
it's not just to change the woods.
The maple one.
The maple fits with everything.
Tulip wood one, which is also in between, hard and soft. Another kind of bridge. An Aja bridge. And then this is the Brazilian boxwood. That's another great wood with a, in this case, with a top of Norway spruce. So therefore, the stiffness or the flexibility of the top calculated with the raw material and design of the bridge, plus the saddle, and the fact that the strings go directly into, with this option of 12 walls, the strings go directly, the vibration from here, rest in the saddle, and then it goes directly to the bridge and makes it vibrate, just as we saw in this picture with this metal string guitar. And this has this very smart thing to move these ones to correct tuning issues. Well, this is some of the very experimental things which have been made in America, I guess. We are not talking about brands. That's another thing we want to clear up, because some people confuse it. This is not about brands, it's about knowledge of guitar making. So then therefore, here we can see all these materials: Brazilian boxwood, then there is dark cherry, clear cherry, pau amarelo, pink cherry.
Wow.
This is
Nashberry.
Brazilian Nashberry, Aja, another wood. The raw materials, and Cremona maple.
That fits with everything.
This is fantastic. Maple. It works with every top. Look at this. See how many different materials have been experimenting on. So this is the only company in the world which has tested actually bridge and not taking for granted that it has to be the dull bridges of rosewood that in classical guitar are there, so as the only option. Why this has to be the only option? This is ugly, it sounds bad, and it's obsolete totally, and it cuts the vibration here. This is one of the problems. We are talking about the problems of the traditional, of every guitar's bridge. Every guitar which is of the same, what they don't know even is the same, they haven't even noticed. Guys, why you didn't try another material on the bridge which is not the same?
100
Why
years.
it has to be rosewood always? So AG did that, and therefore these people is Stradivarius actually, not Torres. So let it have clear that this, by facts, it has been proved how this research was leading to the point which we are now studying and trying to also record with that. So the description of this video, you will see, I will post some of the videos I recorded only using the simplicity guitars with this kind of bridge. So therefore, here we said that this point is very important because the string, it goes directly to the bridge, and then therefore it doesn't cut the vibration, as opposed to the so-called traditional thing that when you have only 6 walls, right? like in this case, you see that here the string cuts the vibration because you have to do this turn, and then here this thing affects also, of course, the sound and the pulsation. It will become softer, the string is not purely direct there. It has a terrible, obsolete white bone, animal bone, or even plastic or some material there. And this is the same of the same with two wings, same, very weighty, and it sounds very loud. Now when you Google there, classical guitar bridge, this comes. And when you Google flamenco guitar bridge, then it comes the same. Like the classical ones. Tell me, what is the difference?
This is a 12th one.
This is a flamenco guitar bridge?
That's typical.
So what is the difference?
Nothing.
What is the difference with the classical
lower
one? Look at this.
It's the same.
Look at this. Oh my god, this is a horrible big brand.
Yeah.
Big name brand, so careful. Same material, same design, same dull bone, same equal wings, same even mistakes on the calculation of the bridge distances, but leave this apart. Let's just consider the disadvantages of the design and the obsolete nature of having this flat thing here, same basis than trebles. This is just a lack of intelligence, obviously. And continuing with the rosewood, because that is when you Google flamenco guitar bridge, then it comes this. It comes only the same like the classical guitar bridge. So there is no, actually, until AG came to the picture, one after the other.
In flamenco, yeah.
The so-called flamenco guitar bridge
That's the same.
are the same like the classical guitar bridge. It's the same material, made of rosewood all, have the same design, same wings, same thick wings, flat.
Probably a bit lower, but that is not changing anything.
And the
sound.
same dull bone as a transmitter. So
It's very
some
important.
also now copied from the classical guitar. Excellent guys who do our research actually and change things and include 12 walls, but that doesn't change anything because still the dullness of this is so much hard. Wood is very hard and very stiff. The rosewood. Rosewood is not good for flamenco. Of course, to get to change these things, it takes to have much courage because the tradition, of course, will attack vehemently as he's attacking all the time. We don't care, but this is the so-called flamenco bridge. What is this flamenco bridge about? It's the same like the classic one. Look, just because what? It's a cypress and then this is black cypress. So, you see, one has to be really full to believe these things. And these ones have other problem that when you try to lower the so-called action, which you didn't even know what action is, I learned this from Paco actually, this equilibrium between the top and the line that the strings draw and the fretboard, then they artificially lower the ugly animal bone, this one, and then what happens, this sometimes the string touches the wood, touches here the wood, so it's just terrible. Well, this is my opinion again.
So let's continue. Therefore, it can be considered as another abanico we were saying, meaning, remember that abanico, for abanico we mean these fan struts here, this that you can see, and this part of the top. And there, then of course the bridge could be considered as an external fan strut. So let's continue. And well, the bridge will tell also about the whole stability, the tuning, and the lifespan of the guitar. This is how much important the bridge is actually. To explain that, here we have this link.
You can bet 120% of the guitars here in Spain, again same thing, except for AE, have this problem, which also causes problems in tuning,
Sinking the top.
because you know the distance. If this bridge came like this, now this create this sinking. The top is sinking down, right? And then what happens if this is a permanent deformity? Of course, the bridge is coming this way, and then it's making shorter the the distance between this point where the strings break to the saddle place and to all the frets, of course it will be out of tune. And now if you get used to that and you think that is okay, then good luck, that is your problem. But here there are some physics facts which are true, and this is the problem. This is the problem here.
Okay, so then therefore, also because if it sinks the top of the bridge is doing something wrong, it will lack tuning, and it decides the span of life because it's the heart of the guitar. So what progressively sinking, what you can expect, it will not last much a guitar like this. Many of the old traditional flamenco guitars have that problem. So anyway, in Spain, as it happened with the fretboard, the same thing, the bridge of flamenco guitars remained the same for more than 100 years, as there is no change on it at all whatsoever, even in the raw materials to make it, nor on its design. Nonetheless, it's interesting to notice that in Germany, around 1924, the great luthier Hermann Hauser I was making guitars with a very different kind of bridge, which is this. From this picture you can see. So here, this is very interesting thing, and this was 100 years ago almost. So that is a great luthier actually. Look what he was trying to do. And indeed this bone here is not bone but a fret of metal. So that's very, very interesting. He tried to alter the way to wind up the string with these pins, and that it will come directly. And he also tried to alter the bone factor, that 100 years ago. So this is really deserves respect, this luthier, because he really had some genius ideas about guitar making. And look at the design, because of course the wings, very weighty, will affect. So this is a great personality, the great luthier Hermann Hauser, around 1924. So he was making guitars with a very different kind of bridge, nylon string guitars obviously. However, in Spain, really speaking, nothing significant happened until AG designed a new bridge for flamenco around 2001. That happened. And then there is a picture of the design, which has different wings, etc., as you already listened there. So with this bridge, which has an enlarged measurement, also 62 millimeters of equal distances, as Paco himself suggested, it should be. This aspect is mandatory to play with easy strummings and rasgueos, like the ones you will see in the next video. So the target zone and everything will be helped if there is a bigger space from one string to another, right? So 62 millimeters from here to here, this is just great for target playing on rasgueos and for picado, what to speak, for everything, for every technique. So then therefore, these 62 millimeters they really help for these techniques and for picado as well. While traditional guitars only have about 57 millimeters of ultrally contracted space to play. Additionally, the AG bridge could also be made from at least 15 different choices of woods other than the same rosewood, And this bridge has also an extra flat feature which allows further resonance and deeper sustain, as well as a prevailing distinct percussive element as far as the presence of the golpe tone is concerned. With this new bridge, an enhanced tone for the golpe, this technique, now we will show what it is. So it's when we tap with the flesh of the middle and ring finger together on the top of the guitar, and we do it close to the treble wing of the bridge. So here we have a video to explain that. This is this. It is Paco playing that way. This is the golpe that goes with the golpe. Right, so this is the golpe technique. And then, of course, this technique is used a lot in Paco de Luc's style, not only for muting, while muting strings tapado is happening, but also when we play with chords, as you can see in the next video. And here we have other link to explain what this golpe is with chords as well. Well, this is one to show the techniques themselves.
Practice first this here, only golpe, flesh, middle finger. Then we have index down.
So this is a video about all the types of golpes there, you can see later. And this is the video of the golpe, which happens when playing with chords, playing rhythm and stuff with chords. Different techniques with chords. The bridge is key, has a key role on all these things. So then therefore, now we can see 15 different pictures with at least 15 different choices of wood for the bridge. It's all this variety. It's maple, softer over softer. Then we have birdseye maple also. This is Brazilian nashberry. This is Brazilian mahogany. I think this is called Nigerian satin wood as well. Cocos wood, Aja, and then flame cremona maple. This is another type of sound. Dark cherry. And we have this very special kind of pink cherry. This is also German Aja, I think it is. This is kingwood. And then we have here tulip wood or cocos wood. Another kind of maple. And this is satin, I think it is. Pau amarelo. Cocobolo rosewood. and pink maple, many things, right? So yes, it is possible, and they sound great. On the opposite side of perfection, one should be, however, on guard about the disgraceful defect of unequal distances between the strings at the bridge. Wrong drilling of the 6 orifices in the bridge is a very detrimental defect in guitars, which affects very negatively picado or scale playing, and is bad for any flamenco technique in general. Although guitars with such defects are sold in Spain all the time, just like hotcakes, to unaware customers, ironically enough, guitar players themselves seem to be totally oblivious of this huge handicap. Actually, many players will happily pay thousands of euros or dollars for a first-class handmade luthier guitar with such unacceptable defects on the bridge. It seems those buyers love defects, especially if the guitar comes from a well-known name luthier. I don't need to say what was Paco's opinion on that. He taught me all these inaccuracies and distances really disturb our playing. In fact, he re-drilled many times his guitars to so-called fix that. And this round drilling defect, we explain it better for those who don't know. There's a link for that. A guitar which has problems in the measurements, or is defective drilling, defective measurement, if not even between one string and another, is a third-class guitar, no matter what's the brand or who says, if the majority says it's right. That doesn't mean one thing, because you pick a ruler and mathematics are true all the time. So here this is the 6th string. Look at the gap here from the 6th to the 5th string, big space, and here from the 5th to the 4th, less. Then here from the 4th to the 3rd, more, and here less. Then here more. So this bridge is wrong. Now another one. Let's check. This one has also problems. A lot of space from the 3rd to the 2nd, and from the 2nd to the 1st, less. Then here, more space from the 5th to the 4th, and from the 5th to the 6th, less space. One more bridge. This one has a big gap here, from the 1st to the 2nd string, big space, and from the 2nd to the 3rd, much less. And now here, more, then less, like crazy, this thing. Then one more, this here. How big?
From the 5th to the 6th is a big gap, and look here, shorter, then a lot bigger. This is a bigger space. Then from the 2nd to the 3rd, look at this, and then from the 2nd to the 1st. So I would try just to think. People sometimes, blind people, and people who is blind, innocent sometimes, but some are just blind and want to remain blind. That's why I call these. Don't tell me the emperor is naked, otherwise I would be offended. Because here is the fact. This is proof. That's what I said about proving things. This is proof. Because here, this is wrong, obviously. And if you pick a ruler, my God. Because just by blind eye, you can see here.
With the naked eye,
you can see. I don't know. Next, here we have another bridge which has problems also. From the 3rd to the 2nd, a lot of space. And here from the 1st to the 2nd, look, 3rd to 2nd big, and here 2nd to 1st, small. And here less in between. And then these other two also different, the base set. We have another more, this one here, look, the gap from the 1st to the 2nd, and from the 2nd to the 3rd shorter, then from here even shorter, then bigger, then shorter.
Notice that so-called flamenco bridge.
This is
it's nothing but the same, and
bridge.
Copying also. One more thing from the classical guitar bridge, this way of diagonal thing, which is the same again.
And bigger, then shorter. More bridge, defective bridge. This is a miscalculation, and of course they keep doing it because people buy names, and that's why that's their business. My business is to give knowledge only. I'm not into business, I'm into giving knowledge, and this is knowledge, and I'm proving it with these pictures here. So this, of course, Paco taught me this 20 years ago, and I'm telling you the tip. When you choose a guitar, this is the first thing you have to see. From the 1st to the 2nd, less distance than from the 2nd to the 3rd. Then here also, difference. It's less than this distance. Now look at this, 6th to 5th and 5th to 4th. That's also a problem. Now another more. Here we have
every guitar
from the first to the second string bigger than that from the second to the third. And here it's shorter, and here even shorter from the 4th to the 5th. And from the 5th to the 6th more. So this is the bigger space. Actually it's this and also this one here. These people call themselves luthiers and great stalwarts of the Spanish guitar building. Give me a break. Now another more. Here we have also a big problem, because check this, from first to second string. And then from second to third, look what happens. So this here, check this, 6th to 5th, and now 5th to 4th and this. So this is another problem here, right? Other bridge. Here we have also problems. Check it out, from the 4th to the 3rd, the space, and now check from the 4th to the 5th. How uneven is it? This will affect all your technique. When you're playing, you have to have even space all the time. Paco was so sensitive to this, he made re-drill 20 times his guitars even for the gig to get the right thing, because 9 out of 10 guitars out in the market have this problem. So people who are aware, you should know. This is the advantage of knowing. Now check it out, this thing. From the 6th to the 5th. And now look at this. 5th to 4th. Then here it appears to be same like from 6th to 5th. And then now shorter gap from 3rd to 2nd. So this bridge. And the last one. You know, the so-called stalwart. Great luthiers don't know how to drill 6-hole even straight with the ruler. So I preserve my right to deny their greatness and go with what I can mathematically make sense of it, because this is here, look, incredible thing. So then, as you can see, the rare event will be that you don't find a guitar with mistakes. So it's not difficult to find the mistakes. Every guitar has these problems, especially if it's expensive, and therefore the rarest thing is to find one that does not have this problem. So no surprise about those gaps there. Luthiers, most of them, especially the famous ones, are just ignorant, lazy, and puffed up fellows who can't even drill 6 holes evenly. This is the reality, how it is. They think they can sell us anything, no matter how lousy it is. Obviously, they assume we guitar players are stupid guys. And unfortunately, most of the time they are right. Their conviction is that we players exist only to be subordinated to them. But here is my challenge to them. And then again, I make a challenge in case someone is courageous enough to try to show me how, based on what level of playing they say what they say. Their attitude is often cynical and always money-based, and one can just imagine what will be the future when awake guitar buyers all over the world notice that the $100 machine-made guitar, manufacturing-made, is much better regarding exactness in measurements than their so-called handmade artisan guitars. And here we have a link to show that. Incredible. So here's why a $100 factory-made guitar will be more accurate than a so-called luthier brand handmade guitar, which inaccurate bridge. Of course, this is because to do what this machine is doing by hand requires highest level of expertise, the desire to do things perfect, and an attitude which no one has now in Spain except AG, which is the only accurate bridge in Spain. Handmade bridge only. In any other, you can just measure, pick a ruler, be objective, and measure, and that's it. 2 + 2, 4. This is because, of course, doesn't mean that the machine-made guitars will be taking over, because or that is not possible to do unless it's made with such machines, right? Because
here, for instance, we will see a guitar of 1924 or something of Simplicio, which has also very accurate bridge. Here is one picture of one. And this bridge was made 100 years ago by hand with the tools of that time. So there is no excuse as far as this is concerned of the precision that the bridge should have in the division, the exact division, which is everything from the less expensive to more expensive. Every guitar has perfect this aspect and is totally handmade. So what will happen? Now I'm not in favor of machine-made guitars or robot guitars, because to me the guitar has a spirit and has a soul. It's like a living entity. But the luthier has to be qualified. Otherwise, it's just not worth to be called the luthier, right? And they have to correct what is wrong and do what is right. And this is a task almost impossible nowadays, to find people who has intelligence enough to correct anything which is wrong and just improve what is better, just as they do in AG.
Me ayudó porque descubrí ahí la improvisación. La improvisación es algo que yo pienso que cada músico del estilo que sea, del clásico, del flamenco, de cualquier otra música, debería aprender, porque en la improvisación te da mucha libertad y a la vez te da mucho conocimiento de dónde estás tocando, de cómo estás tocando, de qué armonías están en cada momento, ¿no?
Muy bien. Pablo. Sí, Paco, ¿qué es para usted la música popular y qué es la música elitista?
Yo creo que la música elitista es el refinamiento de la música popular. Por ejemplo, el flamenco. El flamenco originalmente es una música popular, una música del pueblo de Andalucía. Pero creo que ya no le pertenece más al pueblo, porque de pronto habemos gente que nos hemos pasado toda una vida encerrados puliendo esa expresión popular. Entonces ha llegado a un nivel en el que el pueblo ya no tiene acceso, sobre todo a los matices que vamos consiguiendo la gente como yo, que nos pasamos muchas horas elaborando esa música.